What?
夜中にジュースも飲みました。
Frieren is able to help defeat the Demon King, but she is helpless against Fern, her mentee. So funny. We cannot judge anyone based on their worst attribute. We cannot label and view anyone with their worst mistake. We do not know what we do not know, and everyone is complex. Full stop. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist. Today's video, episode 22, titled Future Enemies, delves into the psychological complexities of its characters, exploring themes of empathy, memory formation, and interpersonal dynamics. Assassination Zero is a sponsor of today's video, our new sponsor tier. Shout out to you and the best patron family. Without further ado, let's tune in. First test is over. Now we're entering the second phase of the first mage tournament. So much has happened in the first part or first phase of the tournament. I don't know if that proctor, the proctor that killed numerous participants in the previous episode, saying that they're not worthy of being a first class mage anyway. That's the privilege. There has to be some sacrifice. I don't know if he's just uncaring. I don't know if he's just very arrogant, or I don't know if he's just being stoic. He's very expressionless and seemingly has no empathy or care or considerations for the participants. So I'll be curious to see if the show delves deeper into that proctor's psyche. All right, let's see in this episode if we're gonna see some more action with Stark and Fern, since Stark has been irrelevant so far since he's not a mage. Is that Stark? The big axe? Oh, yep, that's Stark. I recognize his axe. Stark! I missed you, man. It's been a while, dude. Forgetting to remember what he looks like at this point, dude. Knock, knock. Is it Fern at the door? Who's knocking so aggressively? Definitely not Frieren. Yo! It is Fern. How come Fern has no expressions? Oh, she looks concerned. Is she concerned or disappointed? What? Oh, I missed the lovers' quarrel and their dynamic. Ooh, that diss. I missed Fern's clapback. Quick pause while we're seeing Fern pouting as usual. Do you think that Fern was knocking hard on the door to wake up Stark with such a ferocity? Do you think that was because A, Fern was excited to see Stark? B, I like how I'm giving like a multiple choice even though the exam is over for now. Or B, she knew she would be disappointed because the fact that she was knocking the door for so long, she deduced and suspected that Stark was indeed sleeping. Also, can we just recognize that Fern just developed another new nickname from me? Fern, the FBI interrogator.
What again? I dare you.
Dude, she was bombarding Stark with a series of inquiries and interrogation. Did you stay up all night? Did you know this was the evening? What else did you do? Do you see her piercing eyes that made Stark look down with the face of guilt and shame? And he's like, I drank juice in the middle of the night. So that's why, I'm curious to see what your thoughts. But to close out my very quick humorous analysis, Fern was asking a series of interrogation and questions, humor aside, is because she cares deeply about Stark. She wants to present her best self to Stark because I think she likes Stark at this point. And likewise and conversely, she also holds Stark to a very high expectations, almost on a pedestal. And lastly, because she holds Stark to such a high pedestal, and because she holds Stark to such a high expectation, she also wants Stark to present as his best version. Mind, body, spirits. She wants him to feel the best physically by getting plenty of sleep with really good sleep hygiene, definition right here, with really good nutrition, mental health, emotional health, also plus training. That's the reason why I think Fern is pouting here, because she's disappointed, because she wished Stark could be disciplined even without the whipping of Fern and Miss Frieren. Frieren, I can't believe I said that. I haven't said that since like episode 11. Miss Frieren. So very, very comical start. So far, it seems like it's going to be a slow tempo episode, seems like.
キンメルたちと来た時にいい店を見つけたんだよね。
How do you know if the restaurant still exists, Frieren?
前のことだろう。
Exactly. It's exactly what I said. Is it still here? It is. Is this a restaurant or a potion shop? Oh no, this isn't the restaurant. That's Richard, right? From the other team?
すぐ治るって言っただろ。
The guy with rock magic?
いつもありがとうね、リヒター。
あ、
それじゃあね。
What is that? Are those mochis?
あーちゃん、もうガキじゃないんだ。
Or
いい年したおっさんだぜ。
sugar canes? Or sugar?
だから見たら子供のままさ。
Just like to Frieren, everyone is a child. Yeah, are those mochis or sugar cubes? Look how relaxing and chill and calm the music is.
イカれたじいさんに殴り合いの喧嘩をやらされたものだな。体を休めないといけないんだ。
探している店があるのだが、わしとラオヘンでは
I'll be dead if they are going to the same restaurant as Frieren.
そもラオフェン、なぜデンケンと一緒にいる？
Dunkin' Donuts is back, one of my favorite characters so far in the tournament.
買ってもらった。あげないよ。
完全に孫じゃん。俺たちはもうパーティーじゃない。
処世術がなっておらんな。わしの機嫌は取っておいて
Because he's a powerful imperial
メ
mage.
シアなんかいくらでもある。
妻と生前妻と一緒に行った店で
Oh, reminiscent of Old Man Vol. I think that's a parallel callback.
おごりだろうな。
Oh, Richard's a nice guy. Quick pause. So, first of all, Dunkin' Donuts. I know I'm just going to keep going with the nickname because A, I love Dunkin' Donuts, and B, I like Dunkin' because he's very scrupulous, which is an SAT word for being principled. He's a very principled strategist, as I analyzed in the last episode. So, I'm a big fan of Dunkin'. So I'm going to give him an endearing nickname of one of my favorite franchise, Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' was, I think, a symbolism for callback for Old Man Vol, but it is beyond just Old Man Vol circumstances. I think it is the inevitable dooming nature of as we age, as we enter a later stage of development, we lose those people that we love, either our spouses, our parents, our distant families, or anyone in between. As we get older, we will experience more and more death, which is inevitable. And death is one of the only few, if not only, absolute truth and absolute constant in this world. Everyone dies, period. Unless you're Jesus. So I think that's what Dunkin' represents. And the last thing I'll say is, with that interesting conversation and snippet of Richard talking with this grandma, we're seeing multifaceted nature and how everyone is different. I like that in the seemingly slow tempo and very relaxing episode so far. It makes sense because I think they're getting some time and some rest before the second phase of the tournament, because quite a few people died in the first phase and it was extremely intensive with combat, psychological warfare, and so on. So the rest makes sense. Through this restful period, I think the show is depicting how everyone is multifaceted. Richard was pretty cutthroat in the battle. In the last battle with Frieren's party, he was willing to kill Cain and also Lawin, even though there were two children. He only didn't kill them before they turned the table around when Frieren broke the barrier, right, allowed the rain to pour through, is because Dunkin', with his principled approach, with this description of necessary killing philosophy, similar to Werber, he's like, do not kill them. Just babysit them and put them to sleep. But Richard nevertheless was willing to kill those two children for his objective of advancing to the next round. So he was willing to kill children. Yet, what do we see here? He's so kind to this grandma, and he's very empathetic to Duncan's, I guess, sentiments and longing for company to go to the same restaurant that he used to attend and go with his deceased wife. So it's very lovely to see that everyone is multifaceted. And I think it's a very humble reminder to all of us. We cannot judge anyone based on their worst attribute. We cannot label and view anyone with their worst mistake. We do not know what we do not know. And everyone is complex. Full stop. Case in point in this dialogue, in this scene. But I'll be curious to see if Frieren's party is going to meet up with Dunkin' Donuts' party in this restaurant. Because they keep hinting at this restaurant. And knowing the show as probably a foreshadowing. Or am I just overthinking as usual? Who's this? The pretender? I forgot his name again. As Ubel says, the Four Eyes. Oh, cat! I would 100% adopt that cat. Oh, two cats. Kitten and a kitty. But I already have two cats, y'all. I'm not ready for a third and fourth yet.
メガネくん
Four Eyes.
ユーベル。
はじめましてだね。街中ではさすがに分身じゃないんだ。
Oh, Ubel can detect the mana presence, huh?
走って逃げたりしたら殺しちゃうかも。
Jeez. Alright, Ubel.
一つ質問。
Coming hot with the ASPD traits.
君ってさ、人を殺すことを何とも思ってないでしょ。なんでビアベルを殺さなかったの？
Good question.
見てたんだ。
It's because Ubel is not as sociopathic as she says she is or presents as.
難しい表現なんだけどさ、驚いたよ。
Yeah, it's because Mercy.
両手は血で染まっているのに
Werber showed Ubel with mercy.
と思っているんだ。
そうだ。これは殺す覚悟のための時間だ。
Not true.
共感しちゃったからかな。私も殺すまでの猶予が欲しくなった。
体が動かない。これは。
Wait, hold on. Isn't that Werber's music? Wait,
見たものを
magic?
拘束する魔法。
Hold on. What is going on?
その人が得意とする魔法は人生や人間性
How did
を
Ubel just use Werber's magic? What is going on, dude? What the heck?
私は昔からそうなんだ。共感できることでその魔法が使えるようになるし、共感できる魔法は使えない。メガネ君。
What?
君の分身は本人と同一の機能を持つほどの
I'm
完
kinda
璧な
speechless.
複製だ。君は何を思って教えてよ。
君って感覚で魔法を使うタイプなんだ。その魔法がどんな原理で動いているのかも知らずに、そのまま使っちゃうタイプ。
She can bypass the mechanistic understanding just through feeling?
の足りない子嫌いなんだよね。
Dim-winded. Oof.
答えになっていないよ。
Ubel's a feeler.
教えてやんないって言ってるんだよ。別に僕を殺したっていいよ。
Wow, dude, he's so
そん
calm.
なことをしたら二度と共感はできないと思うけど。
That's a great leverage. He has the upper hands because he knows she wants his magic.
君という人間が少し分かった気がする。
そう。
Ubel the psychologist? What is going on?
これからどこに行くつもりだったの？
さあね。ついてくるなよ。
Alright, here's some analysis. That's like very, very intricate scenes with a lot of psychological undertone actually. So let me revisit my brief and maybe premature diagnosis of Ubel. I gave her ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, given my forensic background as a forensic psychotherapist. But she's not really a full-blown ASPD, not even close. Why? One of the hallmark characteristic that determines someone with ASPD traits or even full-blown diagnosis. Again, just because someone exhibits traits does not mean they're eligible for full-blown disorder. Disorder, you have to check 5 out of the 7 criteria. But for traits, it just means you exhibit and display some tendencies and some behavior traits without having the disorder itself. And you're only a sociopath or psychopath if you actually have the disorder. Ubel just said that her mechanism of her magic is not just the invisible slicing actually. It's that she can bypass one of the conditions of magic in this world of understanding, visualizing the mechanism of a magic before you casting it. According to the Four Eyes, she is actually a feeler. She casts magic based on her feel. But the condition there is she has to empathize. She has to resonate with another person through empathy to mimic and replicate that person's magic, like the binding spell from Rebel. That's extremely interesting, but going back to the ASPD topic, she cannot be a full-blown sociopath because her magic is predicated on her being empathetic. And empathetic is very hard to fake and mimic. Yes, one could argue that empathy is also acquirable. You can learn it, expand it, cultivate it. because it could be viewed as a social skill, perspective, or framework. But true empathy, I think, which is what she requires for her mechanism of her spells and magic, she has to actually resonate and actually empathize with another person. That's the reason why she didn't kill Rebel when she had the chance, in addition to being grateful for the mercy because he spared her first. So that's why she's not a full-blown ASPD. Second thing, for some reason, she is this paradoxical character because she's a feeler. That's what the 4i says. Generally speaking, this is a general blanket statement. There are two types of people in this world, feelers and thinker. I'm more of a thinker. I'm very cognitive. I'm pretty logical. But at the same time, I'm able to empathize and also I have feelings. I cry, or I cried when I was watching Violet Evergarden series.
Flashback. End of flashback.
I cry sometimes when I'm watching K-drama or other very impactful and emotionally powerful movies and shows. So I definitely have empathy quite a bit actually, but I'm more head first than heart first. That's why I'm working on my heart, being heart driven or heart led. So I'm generally speaking, I'm more cognitive. That's why I'm a thinker. And my wife, she's more of a feeler. Even though she's a physician, she's extremely smart, hardworking, and she's also very type A in her work setting. But she leads with her feelings first. But of course, generally speaking, most people are both. We are both feelers and thinkers. But for the sake of this topic, with predominant traits, we can categorize people as feelers or thinkers. So I'm curious to see if most of you guys who are watching are feelers or thinkers, or do you feel like your feeler traits and thinker traits are pretty evenly split? But to close out, going back to Ubel, what an interesting and intricate choice for the writers to attribute Ubel, who's seemingly sociopathic, as a feeler, because that is a mechanism of her magic. Such an interesting choice. Wow.
目の付けどころが良かったな、デンケン。ここはこの町で一番うまい店だ。
Oh,
俺もよく来る。
妻と
Denkin.
ここを訪れたのは50
50
年
years
も前だが
ago. Wow.
当時の雰囲気のままだ。
If it was around for 50 years, then it probably was around 80 years ago with Frieren and Himmel. Let's see. Is Frieren and them here? I heard Fern. I called it. Did I not predict this? Such an obvious foreshadowing setup earlier.
どれにすっかな。
What a fateful encounter. The two parties that face each other is now peacefully and harmoniously at the same restaurant.
食事は楽しんでするもの。
Amen to that, brother.
わしらもそのために
Just like Dunkin' Donuts must be enjoyed. Oh, that's a massive omelet. Wow. Omuraisto in Japanese. Oh. Quick pause. This is a completely unrelated segment of my commentary. I'm more of a savory person. I'd much rather choose actual food and meals over snacks. But my wife, she prefers to have multiple snacks throughout the day and skip meals if she had a choice. So she's more of a snack person, just like Fern. And I'm more of a meal person, like Frieren and Stark. What are you guys? I'm curious. Would you rather have solid, savory meals throughout the day? Or would you rather have snacks throughout the day? I'm very curious.
すごい量だな。
Ton of food. Very generous.
たまにこういうことしますよね。
Nostalgia. I think she's extra hungry because of nostalgia. Immediate callback to Himmel and his party.
ありがとうございます。この世紀の天才料理人レッカーが
That's a massive Chinese knife. The Chinese chopping knife.
お渡ししましょう。
That is a lot of food.
一度に
Meals
そんなに
must be
食べなくて
enjoyed.
も
It's callback to what
また来れ
Dunkin'
ばいい
Donuts
じゃない
said.
か。
そう思って二度と食べられなくなった味がたくさんあるからね。
ご安心ください、フリーレン様。当店の味は後世まで残すつもりです。
Oh.
200年後も。
Wow. I mean, it was around 80 years later,
そうよね。料理人は皆そう
but
言
he
う。
was actually true.
そう言って過去の料理の味を変えて爪痕を残そうとする。
その時はと美味しい味を探しに行けばいい。
True. Oh, Himmel's always so positive.
私を超え
And
る
so
味など
understanding.
この世にありませんよ。
ならしっかり未来まで。
I like that confidence.
それが僕が要求する今回の報酬だよ。
Oh, so heartwarming. I love it.
勇者様の頼みとあらば
No chef has ever done, ensuring flavors last until future
これめ
generations.
ちゃくちゃうまいぞ。
Nice. Wow. Food must be so hungry.
なんだよあれだけ意気込んで
No, no, flavor has changed. It's because Frieren has perfect memory
と美味しい味を探す手間は省けた
because it got
あの
tastier.
時よりもずっと美味しい
Wow, the chef improved the flavors. Wow. Oh, Fern is so thoughtful and
食べんと
caring.
いかんぞ
Dude, Dunkin' Donuts is straight grandpa mode, dude. Dunkin' the grandpa, huh?
意外と小食なんだね
いいだろ
Wait, there's so many people in this restaurant, dude. So, quick pause before Fern is literally so uppity and she's probably high on so much dopamine and endorphins from that flavorful meals and sugar high, frankly. That scene was very deep. Again, I am the king of overanalysis, so here we go. Of course, Frieren had the exact same meal as she did 80 years ago with Himmel the hero, Eisen the warrior, and Heiter the bishop. So that's why she had a great appetite. And she wanted to enjoy and savor the identical meal. Because this is part of a very effective revisitations and euphoric recall. Definition right here. Euphoric recall is typically using the substance treatment or substance counseling sense. When people get triggered or relapse, they get a euphoric recall of the first time they had the substance. So a lot of addicts are constantly chasing after their first high, air quote. But in this sense, with such a powerful memory recall and flavorful and tasty meals, euphoric recall can also happen because good food and sugar, acidity, and so on can also give you a food high. Of course, not as powerful as a substance high, but nevertheless. But her comment of, man, the chef lied to me. After all that he promised, the flavor profile has changed. But then we see that she was smiling immediately because it sounds like the flavors actually got updated and improved upon. So yes, it was not as nostalgic, possibly because flavor profile has changed. Nevertheless, it brought Frieren successfully back to the flashback for all of us viewers to witness. But here is a psychological theme I want to highlight. A lot of people are afraid of change. Change is inherently uncomfortable. There's inherent level of discomfort attached to every single change. New job, new relationship, moving to a new city, pursuing changes to make us better for the sake of our dreams and aspirations. Any changes is inherently difficult. It requires great efforts physically, mentally, and emotionally. Because humans are pattern recognition animals. Why? Familiarity implies safety. And we like what we know. We like and enjoy what we're familiar with. Because it means safe based on your pattern recognition. But what Frieren said beautifully just there when she's like, now I don't have to seek new, tastier meals because flavors for us so oishi, so tasty, and got even better. What does that mean? Change is inherently difficult and uncomfortable, but necessary and powerful and beneficial. When we are able to overcome and move through our fear of change, when we get to the other side, the promised lands, the destinations of change, new possibilities happen. And we don't know what we are capable until we go through changes. Everything in life changes. The seasons, the flowers, the plants, everything changes in this world. If I asked you guys, do you prefer fake flowers or real flowers? Most people will probably say real flowers. Sure, fake flowers requires less care, no watering required, no sunlight exposure, it never dies, so you don't really have to replace it. But real flowers, they actually smell good. They're more vivid, vibrant, there's life. So I could be wrong, but I personally prefer real flowers over fake flowers. But then real flowers die, they dwindle. At the same time, that's the beauty of a life. That's the change. I would much rather real flowers that dies over time and get another new flowers and real flowers so I can water them, see the renewal and transformation, than get the static, unchanging, but air quotes, undying fake flowers. So if you guys are going through some seasons of change, seasons of challenges, just like the metaphor of mage tournaments, because mage tournament is an artificial pressure cooker, like I said, but it represents and symbolizes opportunity for growth through challenges. Please seek discomfort. Please go through change, no matter how uncomfortable it may feel. Because on the other side of fear lies possibilities. That's such a deep scene.
機嫌直ってよかった。
ところで
Fern is in great mood because of Sugar High.
へそくりなくなっちゃった。
It was worth it though.
これぞ無の境地。
Who's,
よくぞ武の
is this
真髄まで
another
たどり着く
flashback for Stark? Who is this old Mr. Miyagi
もう何もない
looking character? Or is this the present? What is going on? This has to be the present because Frieren was in the past.
あのおじいさん誰？
Okay, also
知ら
Frieren
ない
also doesn't.
人
What?
なんか修行してると話しかけて
What?
シュタルクって変な人に好かれるよね。
What?
まあいいや。ちょっといい？
Hold on, I've never done this, but I'm actually gonna rewind and go back to see what that old man said. Because A, he looks like Mr. Miyagi, and B, he looks very wise. So let me just rewind to see what he said. Alright, let's see.
これぞ無の境地
This is the state of nothingness,
よくぞ武の真髄ま
arrived
で
at the
たどり
essence of
着く
martial arts.
お主に教えることはもう
What? Bro, he taught him nothing. What is going on? Hold when I do live commentary, sometimes I'm not as obviously attentive to the dialogue. That's why I wanted to go back because this Mr. Miyagi looking dude made some what I thought was seemingly profound statements. But he was like, I have nothing left to teach you. But bro, you taught him nothing. You just came over to Stark when he was training. But I think it's interesting that this is the state of nothingness. Because again, I could be overstretching, guys, but you guys are here for my overthinking, right? Remember the last scene for Frieren to able to capture the stillbird is by achieving a state of stillness, non-attachment, like I said. And then the stillbird landed on his shoulder. I think this is a parallel to Stark in this meditative state. He's also perfectly still. He's immersed and achieved a state of oneness. And oneness can also be viewed as nothingness, which is what this Mr. Miyagi looking dude is saying. And I think this also reminds me of Bruce Lee's philosophy of martial arts. Bruce Lee has, if you study Bruce Lee beyond his amazing, I guess, legends and rumors and videos on YouTube, he's always known as the philosophy of less is more. So this kind of reminds me of the martial art philosophy of Bruce Lee. But I wonder if that's what the Mr. Miyagi is saying. But I guess Frieren is right. Stark does attract weird people for some reason. Does Stark attract weird people? What do you guys
ちょっと
think?
いい？力を借りたいんだけれども。
Hmm.
何があったんだ
Why is Fern pouting
めちゃくちゃ
again?
怒ってる
What did Frieren do?
買い出し当番私だったのに寝坊しちゃったけど。
い
Frieren.
つものことだろう
Frieren the sleeper, dude.
フェルンは積もりに積もって爆発するタイプなんだよ。
爆
Mm.
発したらどうなるんだ
口を聞いてくれなくなっちゃう。
Interesting. Okay, we're glimpsing into the
お願いだよ
personality of
シュタ
Fern
ルク
more and
仲
more.
裁してよ。私だと
Oh,
話
shout out to Zine. Zine is not here to mediate.
よ怖いもん
そうだよね。無茶言ってごめんね。
Frieren is able to help defeat the Demon King, but she is helpless against Fern, her mentee. So
フェル
funny.
ンさん本人もこうして反省
Look
して
at
い
Stark
る
is literally facing the other way. Stark is trembling in fear.
Eh?
That's Fern's coping to eat snack to feel better. Okay.
めんどくせえこの人
Or is she just stress eating, which isn't always healthy either?
送りまだあったかな。
I love the glimpsing into Fern because as I analyzed previously in the past episodes for Mage Tournaments, the show is spotlighting Fern as another protagonist. Of course, Stark is another protagonist. Entire Frieren's party, they're all protagonists. This show isn't just about Frieren. Just like in the previous Heroes party, it wasn't just about him or the hero. It was about all of the heroes in that party. I like that in that scene, it's allowing us to glimpse into more of the personality and traits of Fern. Sounds like Fern is someone that lets things build up internally and then explode. A lot of people are like that. It's not good or bad, but it's people typically, of course, again, this is general statement, people who let things build up internally through their emotions and then eventually reach a boiling point and then poof, like a volcanic eruption. It's because they struggle with naming things saying that, hey, I'm frustrated because Miss Frieren, you overslept, you broke your promise. If she said that to Miss Frieren, maybe she did, but maybe she did not. She'll be able to express, because as I said before, expression is the opposite of depression. Again, like the quote right here, expression is the opposite of depression. What we don't express, what we don't share, gets depressed inside of us, and they build up and they pent up, and we get very frustrated and angry like Fern. And I think a lot of that is related to Fern's traumatic upbringing, broken attachment style. Because with her brokenness, with her attachments, even though Frieren has fulfilled that gap as a secure attachment, as I also analyzed in the past, she's getting better. But trauma takes time, especially with her very, very traumatic upbringing, being an orphan of war who almost killed herself before Heitzer the bishop rescued her and took her under his wings. That's why even with her, I guess, frustration style, how she deals with anger, frustrations, emotions, it's another revealing characteristic of her traumatic upbringing and broken attachment style, historically speaking. This is a really chill episode, but also very, very deep emotionally. Kane's back. Warble.
お前戦士だろ。
ちょっと何ですか。何？
Are they recruiting for the next party?
ダメだな、こいつじゃ。
What they doing? That was so
何
random.
やってんだろう。待たせたなあかんねん。
Who is this? Oh, Lawing dressed up. Wow.
毎回余計なもの買ってきやがって。私
She has 3 brothers.
お袋もノリノリでさ、一切止めやしね。
It's because the mother has 3 sons. So
私より甘やかされてんじゃん。そう思うなら変わってくれよ。
is Lawing from like a royalty family or upper class family?
ほら行くぞ。息が詰まりそうだ。
Aww.
じゃあ今日は私がエスコートするね。
Aww.
ダビーナちゃん。
So cute. Quick pause. Again, I might be overthinking. I think this scene kind of parallels and callback to the scene where Stark was on his knee asking Fern going on the dance, right? For that episode. And remember, Kane and Stark, they both have orange hair. And as I talked about previously, that I think Laween is like Fern. They're very, very similar in their personality so far. So I feel like this is another beautiful but subtle callback to the romance that's developing between Fern and Stark, aside from the hair color similarities and the personality similarities. Oh, I guess I kind of, but also didn't see that coming. So funny. Bang!
フェルンさん、どれにしま
This
しょう
is
か。
another callback in parallel to when Stark was shopping with Fern
いいですよ。
for the jewelry for her birthday.
これ、どれでも良くない時のやつだ。
Stark has figured Fern out a little bit more.
もう困るよ。
Oh man. Dude, I love the writing of the show, man. They're making all these characters reunite and re-emerge outside of the
ちょうどよ
battlefield.
かった。宿
Amazing.
に遊びに行こうかと思っていたところなんだ。
This is what I said in the introduction. This is the complex but intricate interweb of relational map and relational web, like a spider web. All these characters are emerging, right? they all were by chance encounter through the random assignments. They all teamed up with different characters in the first phase of the first mage tournaments. But now, outside of the battlefields, in the real world setting, through this restful phase, they're all reconnecting once again. This is showing the viewers that all of these characters are not meaningless characters. In fact, they all play a role. So that's very deep. And I'm enjoying these characters coming back.
あのね、フリーレンにはたくさん助けて
Yeah, bro, she freaking carried you guys.
先生みたいだった
Frieren the mentor.
二人が喧嘩するせいでねラビーネが悪い
女の子ばっかりで居心地悪いな。おい、お前戦士だろ。
No shit, bro. Look at his axe.
あ、ちょっと。やだ。
Quick pause. Another callback to literally the scene when I talked about when that Lord was asking Stark to stand in for the death of his son. They did the same thing. Remember, they were all touching throughout Stark's body. So this is another callback. There's so many callbacks in this episode. But also, can we talk about how intrusive and invasive of privacy this is? Dude, Stark has no rights. Nobody ever asks for his opinions. Nobody cares about his preferences. Random stranger dudes, because Stark doesn't know these dudes, are just randomly touching his body. Like my man Stark is literally getting sexually assaulted on, dude. Like this is Stark. R.I.P. man. I feel bad for you, dude. Oh man. Dude, Stark has no rights. That's exactly what I'm asking.
前衛を探していたんだ。
Oh, they need a
試験であった
tank?
な。こいつお前の仲間か。借りたっていい？
どうぞ
I literally just said this. Stark has no
連れ
rights.
てかれちゃ 兄貴たちもそうだ
I mean that, but also Warboy is a nice guy we saw, right? He's trying to reinvent himself.
これ俺ね
R.I.P. Stark, you have no rights,
お礼
man.
なん
Poor
てもら
dude.
うようなことしてないよ
Yeah, Frieren, what? You carried the
フリーレン
team.
がいなかったら私たちは第二次試験まで進めなかったありがとう
Facts. That's nice of them, though. Oh, immediate callback to Himmel, the hero.
さあ、パパとママが待ってるよ。
Oh, so kind. Frieren really stepped up. She truly is apprentice to
ヒン
Himmel.
メルは
As one of the viewers, Christy, pointed out.
勇者だからさ。
そういうことじゃなくて
Himmel the hero and Frieren the heroine.
もしかしたら自分のためかもな。誰かに少しでも自分のことを覚えていてもらいたいのかもしれない。
Maybe that's partially true, but I think Himmel is truly just personifications of heroism.
覚えていてもらうことだ。
Oh, bars. Just be kind. Be you.
ほんの少しでいい。誰かの人生を
See, change. What did I say earlier? Change is coming back. The theme of change. Change is healthy. Change is good. Aw, what a wholesome scene. Frieren really has become Frieren the heroine. Frieren the hero. She's memorializing and honoring Himmel the hero. Aw, look at Frieren's smile. Wow, this might be the longest smile I've seen Frieren.
このもらったお菓子 2日目の朝なかなか起きなかったなその話はやめてまた機嫌が悪くなっちゃう
Too late. Oh.
一級試験
Frieren is
は例年通り
babysitting
なら
three
第
children
三次試
again.
験まで次からは敵同士だな
Hmm.
そうだね
Hmm? What is this pigeon mail delivery? Oh, wow. That toss. That was a sick toss by that bird.
次の試験の通知ですね
Hmm.
第二次試験の
Phase
会
two.
場と日時担当の試験官の名前
Who's the
です
proctor? I wonder if it's the female proctor or the male proctor.
でねえなせっかく第一次試験に受かったのに
Hmm? Who's
ど
that?
ういうことですか前世の担当した試験は過去4回
Sensei?
合格者
Sense?
は0人だ
Jeez. That's harsh. They all got the pigeon mail delivery. While Ubel is still with Four Eyes. She's really trying to empathize with him to acquire his magic. Wow. Jeez, who's this person? So rude to that innocent pigeon.
お前すげえな。部の真髄を見たぜ。
The essence of martial arts, which is what the Mr. Miyagi dude said.
なんてひどい試験内容だ。
Oh, she is sensei? Same? Sense? Wow.
私は平和主義者だよ。
She's a pacifist? But nobody passes her test?
でね。
Huh? What does that mean?
And
Wow, I really, really enjoyed this episode. There's a lot of callback about Old Man Vol and other sentiments and nostalgia as I alluded to throughout. This episode kind of mirrors Old Man Vol's episode for me. Seemingly in action, not a lot of action packed, no battling monsters. It was just a lot of nostalgia. It's like a quiet gut punch, as I mentioned before. Very, very solid emotionally. And we really saw the multifaceted nature of many, many characters in this show or in the part of the Mage tournament. Very, very solid episode. I'm a big fan. But anyway, as always, I hope you enjoyed today's video, my analysis, my overthinking as always. Smash that thumbs up. If you want me to continue overthinking and overanalyze everything, check your subscribe button. And if you can share this episode with one friend, that would be much, much appreciated. And that would be very lovely. And thank you for watching the video as always. And I hope to see you again in the next week's train of video. Peace till next time.